I'm your I'm your co-host today. Lokesh is staying here to get me started through the hiccups, but then Charlie Freak is here. Charlie Colleen is on her way as well.
Yep, yeah, we're just putting all the dogs away and just trying to get organized.
And to everybody who's here, those of you who may not know this, because a lot of people from the Sexy Brilliant community are here. Charlie Freak is an author. He's a patriot. He is a singer-songwriter, and also has runs an animal shelter. So make sure that you are liking this video, sharing this video, and then those of you who can, please make sure that you are donating as well. Donate directly to the Shire Foundation, the Animal Rescue and Shelter. Charlie, give us the address of the animal rescue so people can send you their donations, please.
Well, remember everyone that, to help us, you can help us in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be money, and we don't want anyone to stress at all. So your love, your intentions, your meditation, your focused intent, focused thoughts, prayers, all those things help, and they're all real, and they're all greatly appreciated as well. And if you do want to help us financially with an amount that is very comfortable for you, you can do so on buymeacoffee.com. And the reason is, of course, is that Patreon shut down our accounts, including the Animal Rescue Sanctuary account, and took away access to all of our patrons as well. But hey, what's Patreon for anyways, right?
What is it for? Oh yeah, I know what it's for.
For the man. So and we'll just in the show notes we'll have the link for that. It's Charlie Freak 777 at buymeacoffee.com. buymeacoffee.com/ Charlie Freak 777, and that's it. But remember, you can help us in so many ways.
That's wonderful, and thank you so much, everybody. I mean, your time, your just your presence makes so much difference. And I know these are traumatic times. We're all going through this. We're all feeling the anxiety, the stress. And with that, having said that, this is also a time of healing. As light workers, we're going to be healing. We're going to be the first ones to heal. And then as we heal, the world heals with our light and our brilliance. So thank you so much for that. And Lokesh, did you say you have a video for us to share?
As everyone is watching this, first, Chris Rea is a British songwriter, one of the greatest songwriters ever, one of the greatest guitar players ever, just through and through an impeccable musician. And Chris had a number of big hits, but that's not what Chris was about at all. He was about the quality of the song. And I have this song as my number 6 overall best, most important song ever. There's a lesson in this song, and you had better learn it fast, and you had better learn it well, because this song is the truth of our reality. And again, as everyone's watching here, Chris Rea is a master of numerology and symbology, and there are no mistakes in this video. He made this video, and the messages and the symbology are profound.
I saw a woman by the side of the road with a face that I knew like my own, reflected in my window. Well, she walked up to my quarter light, and she bent down real slow. A fearful pressure paralyzed me in my shadows. She said, son, what are you doing here? My fear for you has turned me in my grave. I said, Mama, I come to the valley of the rich, myself to sell. She said, son, this is the road to hell. On your journey across the wilderness, from the desert to the well, you have strayed upon the motorway to hell.
That was a beautiful song, by the way.
Yeah, it's just an incredible song. And I'm just going to quickly go through it, and then we'll get back to all of our great friends here and get on with the questions. So I stood still on a highway. I saw a woman by the side of the road with a face that I knew like my own. It reflected in my window, and she walked up to my quarter light, and she bent down real slow. A fearful pressure paralyzed me in my shadow. She said, "Son, what are you doing here? My fear for you has turned me in my grave." I said, "Mama, I have come to the valley of the rich, myself to sell." She said, "Son, this is the road to hell. On your journey, cross the wilderness," left hemisphere of your brain, "from the desert to the well." The well is the pineal gland in the right hemisphere of your brain. "You have strayed upon the motorway to hell." And then part two, "While I'm standing by the river is the horizontal divide between the hemispheres of your brain, left and right, but the water doesn't flow. It just boils like it does on Mother Earth with every poison you can think of. And I'm underneath the street lights, but the light of joy I know is scared beyond belief way down in the shadows. Your light is not on. Your light is in perpetual darkness, and because you're down in the root or Muladhara chakra at the base of the tree of life, and you must rise. And the perverted fear of violence chokes a smile on every face, and yet common sense is ringing out the bells. Ding, ding, ding. Wake up. This ain't no technological breakdown. Oh no, they're lying to you. This is the road to hell. Organized society is the road to hell. They have led us to the precipice on the road that is wide and spacious, that the many will take. And you wake up only at the edge of the cliff. All the roads jam up with credit, and there's nothing that you can do. It's all just bits of paper flying away from you. So look out your window, world, and take a good look. What comes down here? You must learn this lesson fast and learn it well, because this ain't no upwardly mobile freeway. This is the road to hell. And I want you to note in the video how the car that he's driving in the pouring rain at night in the darkness is constantly moving at a hyperspeed forward, fast forward, never once stopping to look behind, never once pausing for a moment to even take a breath. It's out of control. That's what they've got us doing, running on a rat race. And there is a lesson to this song, and we had better learn it fast, and we had better learn it well. And that is that you matter. The only way to be a great wife or husband, the only way to be a great parent or a child or a sibling or a friend is to turn your light on first. You must take the oxygen mask on the airplane that is crashing into the sea, and you must put it on you first. Then you can turn and help others, but only when you help yourself first. So again, one of the greatest songs ever. I wanted to open the show with that and let that sink in all of us as we go through the show.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. And everybody, please welcome Colleen. She's here. The dogs are at their home resting. And we've got so many people. So Charlie, should we start with the questions? By the way, somebody wants to know on the YouTube chat, where can they find your top 1,000 playlists?
I'm going to present it, but it's not polished. So I have to spend some time with it, which I will do this week because I want it perfect. I want it perfect in proper order. So I will do that, and then we will unveil it. Yeah, I promise.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we're going to just pass I think Justin was here first, or Alex is here from Germany. Let's start with Alex from Germany.
We love Germany. We love Germany. Alemann, Alemann, Alemann.
And Germany loves you, Charlie Freak, right?
Yes,
I hope so.
absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Beautiful.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me here tonight. And yeah, not wasting any time. So I wanted to ask actually two questions. So I don't know which one to start with first best, but so the one is regarding the NESARA, right? So because I was trying to make a lot of sense out of it, and then lately there's been like a lot of misconfusion, especially as Santa Surfing put out some content.
Surfing.
Oh my gosh. And so people reacted really weird about, the RV and there's not going to be any prosperity funding and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. But so I wanted to ask you, so since that can't exist anymore, right? Doesn't that automatically require that everybody has to give you like a monthly paycheck? Because if you can't charge your credit card, or if you can't go into minus with your account, then don't you have to have like a monthly paycheck to avoid this? Oh,
yeah. Well, there's
Yeah, we can hear you, Alex.
Yeah, it's just it's a little frustrating, and especially the timing on it. But essentially what's happening, so that everybody knows, is that they're just backpedaling just a little bit. That's all. They're just backpedaling a little bit. And the reason being is because if we move forward with all of the protocols that are labeled out in NESARA as part of the quantum financial system, the question is, what does it do to what has to be done right now? And what has to be done right now is the Great Awakening. So what I can absolutely say is that everything that we've talked about is coming, guaranteed. It's your money. The funds that I've told you about with regard to the Maritime Admiralty laws and the creation of you as a birthing certificate, a surety, a bond, that's all they think of you as a surety, a guaranteed investment. Your sureties, your bonds in your birthing certificate number and name are worth millions, if not billions of dollars. And that money is yours. Whether it comes to you now or it comes to you years down the road or in partial payments, I don't know. There's not a question of a lack of funds. Trump and essentially this quantum financial network has so much money because we've been pulling all of the stolen funds from the cabal. So this started happening when we took them down 2.5 years ago. So there has been an enormous amount of money. And every time that Trump has taken down another country or another corporation or another aspect to all of their evil plan, each time he has been taking the funds from each of these organizations or people or groups or nations, and he's been putting them back into the exchequery. He's been putting them back into the treasuries. So the treasuries are loading up with real funds, real value. So it's not for a lack of money. So I think and remember, Santa Surfing, she's authentic, she's great. She is absolutely connected to the Q team. They've asked her to sort of be a connection to the truth community via YouTube. That's her platform. We do not have that kind of relationship or connection. She does.
But here's what they're also up against is that the information about where the demons were going to go with GESARA and how they were going to implement our takedown, which you were just describing the other day about Canada. So go ahead and explain that a little bit. And so they're having to counteract that information on how the cabal was going to give us living wage.
Yep.
We had to sign everything over, and we had none of our own assets, right? But we were going to be taken care of, however they choose to do that. So they've got that GESARA information from the cabal, and then how do they roll out another program and not mixing the two up so that people get all this disinformation. So that's probably tricky for them. But at the same time, can you imagine how do you control a world, which obviously the cabal has been doing a good job of it, but how do you awaken a world? You can't just say, okay, we're going to give you $1 million in your bank account. Can you imagine what would happen to this world if we all had that? Like, it would be chaos, right? And most of us aren't mature enough to handle that. So everybody who's just focusing on, you know, like a living wage, I can see that, but millions of dollars in your bank account one day, they're like, wow, that would throw this entire world into complete chaos, I think.
And again, we still have people asking us questions or making statements like, you know, listen, I got a job in Hollywood, and what's going to happen with Hollywood, because I want to go back to my job, kind of thing, or I got a job at Walmart. What's going to happen with all of this, you know, information that you shared with us about, you know, Walmart essentially being a massive cover for the harvesting of children, the shipping of adrenochrome, or I have a job with Evergreen Shipping and I want to, if we don't evolve here to the higher realm, then we're going nowhere. We're back on that road to hell. So this is not about jobs. This is not about money. It's about doing the right thing. And the right thing right now is to allow all of these specious, nefarious, evil, demonic corporations die. And if it means, even for us, enormous amounts like Patreon going down and taking away the account for our animal rescue sanctuary, I mean, that's pretty sick. But if that's what needs to happen, because Patreon is a very sick and diseased corporation, then that's what needs to happen. And we have to put the interests of goodness and righteousness and God and our children and everyone first before the petty interests of ourselves and in a bank account. So once again, let me just guarantee all of you that you are not going to lack for money. The money in everybody's treasury in every nation is overflowing with real wealth. The money is going to flow. And as I've tried to share with you on podcast after podcast, it's going to flow in the direction of righteousness. So and part of the reason why this has gone on so long is to get you out of the mindset of working for a living or a career. There's nothing wrong with working, but it doesn't have to be your identity or what you do forever. It's what you might do for the next 2 or 3 years to help in the takedown of everything that is still left standing and the building of all of the goodliness that still needs to come.
So no enslavement is what you're saying. No
right. So the money is there. You're not going to be, and the jobs, again, what's the guy from CNN? Joe Scarborough, who murdered his intern, I think that's about 20 years ago, and got away with it. And now he's a key person with Zbigniew Brzezinski's daughter. What's her name? Mika Brzezinski. And Joe Scarborough, the murderer, and Mika Brzezinski, the daughter of Zbigniew Brzezinski, scum of the earth, have the biggest show on CNN, and they partner together. And even Joe Scarborough, who knows he's hooped, who knows that they know that they've got all the information that he murdered his intern or attempted to, because I have a feeling that she's alive. But he yesterday made the comment on CNN that in the third quarter, Trump had a 33.1% increase in the gross domestic product in the United States. Unheard of, record, unbelievable. And he's saying, you have to tip your hat to Donald Trump because all the things that were against him and the COVID and everything else, and a 33.1% increase is staggering. So the money is there. The economy strength is there. They know how to do this and what to do. It's so simple. We've just been lied to about what makes it difficult and why it's impossible to create jobs. It isn't. It's just so easy. You just have to get rid of debt. So all the protocols of Nassar are real. You cannot have usury. Usury has been banned in every country. And this is what these demons have done to us for 100 years. You take usury away, and now everything crumbles, all the illusion crumbles around us. So one of the things that's going to happen, please listen and hear this. The prices are going to plummet because the Phoenicians, the Venetians, the cabal, the Jesuits have been, they are mafia, and they have been pulling 95% of the price out of every product, driving the prices of everything through the roof. And even Santa Surfing said in her podcast with regard to mortgages, that they're not going to clear your mortgage right away, which I think they should have, but whatever. At the very least, what she said is that there's going to be a massive revaluation of your mortgage because your house is not costing, shouldn't have cost you $495,000. You shouldn't have a $300,000 mortgage. So your mortgage is probably going to plummet to say $36,000, and your payment's going to drop to $285 a month. And then when you don't have a credit card payment, you don't have because that's gone, and your car payment's gone, and your student loan is gone, and all these other ones are gone, and your property tax is gone. All these things are gone. And the prices have plummeted to less than 10% of what they currently are. Your dollar has just jumped 10,000-fold. So, and remember, in the future, there's not going to be any inflation. Inflation only exists because of this bullshit existence of fake money. Printing money out of thin air and charging an interest valuation upon it means that everything has to increase in price because there's no way to pay the interest without borrowing more money. And on it goes, the game of Monopoly. So what you're looking at is a new reality where your dollar is going to go. So already you're rich just by nothing happening other than them taking away the false system around you. So if nothing else changes, what you currently have has now made you wealthy beyond your imagination. So these EpiPens, which were close to $500 a pen, already are $3.95. Wow. That's like 93% discount on the price by Donald Trump, who's just Illuminati and he only cares for the other rich people and blah, 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 blah. So your world, so you just don't have to worry. I wish she wouldn't have done that video, especially at this point. But let me reassure you, you have nothing to worry about with your money. And if you want to work for a living, like have a job with a boss, there's no end of work. There's no end of work. And all the payments that we've seen are all going to be just gloriously paid jobs. And when you don't have the taxes against you, when you don't have all these other debts against you, your dollar is going miles and miles and miles. So you just don't have anything to worry about. Relax, breathe deep, trust in the plan. It's a great plan. It's an incredible plan. There's so much money, they don't even know what to do with all of the money moving forward. But what they want to do with the money is put it towards righteousness. Back over to you, Alex, and part 2 of your question.
Thank you so much. That was just fantastic. I truly appreciate both of you. And before I go on to the second question, which I'm going to really quick, I wanted to thank you and let you know that I have actually started doing the work since like 8 weeks. It took me I started once and then I stopped because I thought I couldn't do it, but now I'm full on doing it. So I'm just like on raw food and that's it. So thank you so much. What a wonderful inspiration the two of you are. Beautiful. Okay. And so the second question I wanted to ask is, do you know anything about Angela Merkel? What is going on with her? Like, is it true what Jean Decode said, that she's got Kuru as well, as the same as Robert De Niro, and like that's what Hillary had and all that stuff? Like, is she being arrested? Is that even her anymore? Or do you have any information about her?
Yeah, no, we don't know any specifics about Angela Merkel, but she has been arrested. And so is she one of the lucky few that was allowed to continue with life imprisonment and not the death penalty for playing the role in this movie for the last 2 years? I think it's likely. And what you're seeing with regard to her failing health and her spasmodic body movements, the same thing that Hillary had, these are all the powerful consequences to adrenochrome. And it is the price that these vampires pay for the adrenochrome process. Covefe, remember, Trump doesn't make mistakes. He wasn't trying to spell coffee. That's cobalt, vanadium, and iron. There's a double hit of iron in your system when you take this adrenochrome. And what it does is it actually creates a massive leaching process within you, because this double iron is making everything within you porous, so that the very our intestinal walls and arterial walls and cellular linings, instead of being very, very sealed and well formed, they're all becoming very porous, and everything is beginning to leak out. And remember, I was saying this, I think last week here or on another podcast, I was talking about laminin. Laminin are these little crosses. I love you. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing, but it's true. Inside of us, what holds all of our innards together and all that guck and muck and all of that stuff, so it doesn't leak out of us, are these crosses, and they're called laminin. And it's a cross, and it's beautiful beyond description. These demons don't have it. They don't have laminin in their systems because of all the iron. And so they're blue death. They're leaking to death.
But we also don't know if adrenochrome batch had been tampered with a while ago.
Well, the last batch out of Wuhan, and it was tampered with to the problems with this double Y. When Trump tweet of Covefe, a lot of people just laughed and thought he's an idiot. As we said, everyone in Hollywood took a massive SHIT. They just dumped their
drawers.
They dumped their drawers in their seat because they knew exactly what he was talking about. And then, of course, you saw those people just before your eyes in March and April. All the elites turning into dust before our eyes with that tampered batch of adrenochrome. And then there's no adrenochrome for them. There's none. They shut off the supply. So they're dying. They're dying in front of us. And it is so perfectly observed. And that's why they all look hell. And so isn't that beautiful? There's no Jesus Christ inside of them. They have no land inside of them, and they're bleeding to death. These vampires, and they can't get the little baby, babies of our children. They don't have them to suck their blood anymore. So just desserts for these demons. So Merkel, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing, so is she still alive? She could easily be dead, and it's one of her body doubles. All of them have body doubles. They created the body doubles, right?
So there's a lot of talk about the cloning. And so, I mean, obviously we don't really know for sure what that's all about, but it is artificial. It would be like a robot of some sort. I don't know the technology. They must have some pretty advanced technology. And what's real and what is just movie making, I'm not sure, but obviously they're not clones because they don't look exactly like you, right? You can see the distinct differences. Like Prince Charles does not look like Prince Charles anymore. Madonna does not look like Madonna anymore. So if they had actual clones, they'd look like the identical being, but it isn't. So it could be a body double, it could be a synthetic.
And
I don't know.
Only God can bestow consciousness.
Right.
I'm sorry, but and you can't take a human consciousness and put it into like this little chip or something. No, I'm sorry. No. God doesn't work like that. No, sorry. They're lying to you.
But there will be a large disclosure, I'm sure, in the months coming up of everything that we're asking all these questions, right? Everybody wants to know. So I think there will be a huge disclosure on all of that coming forward. And I believe that there will be no more darkness. The veil will be lifted and we will have all the answers we've been looking for. Because there needs to be truth and clarity. We just can't have these doubts anymore. Moving forward in the righteous path, we have to have the knowledge and the gnosis. So
and let me say this, that Germany has been the center of the great lie of the 20th century, and the truth has to be told. The truth has to be told about what really has happened. Anything about our true history. I guarantee you don't know anything about when things happened, where they happened, who they happened to, what else was going on at the same time. We have been lied to. We don't know anything, the trueness of mankind's history. We don't. And what we have been sold about World War I and World War II, I'm sorry if this offends some people or it's a shock to some people. It's a frickin' lie. And I will get in anybody's face who attempts to even challenge what I'm saying. I've done the work. I've researched this upside and down, and they're lying to you about World War I and about World War II. Absolutely lying to you. And what we have to do is we have to embrace the truth, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how much you fell hook, line, and sinker for these certain narratives and these certain words, and you can't say them or you go to prison and stuff. Nope, they're lying to you.
And that's part of the work, is unattaching to the ego and unattaching to what we thought was real. So that's part of the work. So next question.
Charlie, you have the best and the most intelligent audience around. They're giving us so much information. Tommy Walsh just said, I just heard that JFK is disguised as Weepy Pence. So,
JFK Jr., you mean,
Yeah, JFK Jr. And so there's a lot of information that your audience drops for you. So I want to say thank you to everybody who's here. Next question. Let's go with Justin. Nice hair, Justin.
Thanks. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Hi, Justin.
Hi, Justin.
Hey.
Alex, thanks for those questions, Alex. Those were beautiful questions. And Alex, we love you and thank you for doing the work, Alex. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much too.
We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Justin,
Alex.
we love you, man.
I love you guys so much. Oh man, it's been such a breath of fresh air to have found you guys in just recent months. And I've started the Freak Sense podcast, the playlist that you made, and I've been going through it. It's been amazing. So much appreciate that. So my question kind of surrounds your guys' routine around your 2.5 days that your chrism oil is rising. What do you? I understand the sort of holistic, life changes, sort of rebalancing and mediation that we need to find the center point. But what do you do? What do you vary on those 2.5 days or prior to and right after, both kind of in your daily routine, what you intake sexually and that sort of nature? Just curious from that perspective.
Do you want me to start with it?
Sure.
If you asked us that question 2 years ago, it would be massively different. But right now, nothing. There are no changes. This is what we're trying to teach and trying to show everyone, that what the truth is the light of the world. It is the way. And then you just live the truth every single moment and every single solar day and moonly week and moonly month and solar year. You are just simply dedicated to this life. So we have no longer check our charts and to know when the chrism oil is coming at all. It just, no, there's nothing different that we do. Remember, with regard to the sacred sex process, which after the election, when things calm down, to begin to those who really want to understand this, because this really is one of the highest truths that needs to be shared. There's a right way and a wrong way to do everything, and that includes sex. Sex has been turned into a 5-letter word, SEXXX.
We just have to look on TV or the videos that we see. The cabal has turned sex into a complete upside down perversion. So yeah, relearning what it's all about and how we can implement all of that into our life on a daily basis. And just that's part of what we call doing the work, is just first of all, you have to reprogram yourself to what the truth really is, and then you just have to start living it, and then you have to correct yourself whenever you fall back into those old habits. And so that's a process for me.
For everyone.
Yeah. So and especially during this period, it's really hard for us because we are so busy, and it's we don't get as much time to meditate or as much time to do, you know, personal things that we used to. So after I would say probably December, we would definitely have more time to look at all of our new behaviors a little bit more. And then we will share all of that too, because it's important, and it's an experimental thing too, because, you know, for us, it's just learning something and then trying to implement it. So it's, and that's especially in the area of sex, because we come with a lot of pre-programmed garbage.
Yeah.
And so to get rid of that inside of your head is really difficult. And depending on how you've lived your life and how things have happened to you, right? Whether you've been abused or whatever, it's like, you have to change all of that. So psychologically, there's a lot of work to do, for some people more than others.
And it's all purposeful, you know, like the thing is, this is why they encourage pedophilia. This is why they encourage rape, right? I'm sorry, but this is what they're showing in children's movies. We have that podcast that I'll get finished this week, which is the Adrenochrome 113 and A113. And you're just going to see that everything in just an average television show is telling you to rape a woman, is telling you subconsciously that it's okay to just have sexual urges and take. And it's just been brutal, the programming that has gone on. And so the feelings and the pain bodies that men and women, especially women, have in and around sex is incredible. And the reason that this is so horrific is because it's when you do the sexual process correctly. So this, what we call unity consciousness sex, which would be the Ida and the Pingala together, rising around the spine, and then at the pituitary gland and the pineal gland, locking eyes on one another. And then that is this connection of two into one. And this raises the sacred mother. This is the Kundalini rising. And remember, this isn't a theory. This is real, and this really happens within you. And this is magnetism that rises. And it's that cool, white, magnetic light that is now alive inside of you, and it heals everything. So when you can sustain this because you love each other so much for half an hour, for 40 minutes, for an hour, for 2 hours of lovemaking, just know there are no problems in the world. All that exists are the two of you, and you are so deeply connected with one another. You're healing your bodies and your minds, because that magnetic light is a healing light, because it's God's light. It's photonic light. There are two energies. There is electricity, which is downward causation, and there is magnetism, which is the scalar wave, which is the eternal eight, which rises and returns and rises and returns. If we don't become magnetic, nothing is going to change. If we stay in the left brain, downward causation of electricity, then this reality of being born, getting sick, dying, being born, getting sick, dying, being born, getting, it's just going to go on again and again and again. That's the samsara, and that only exists in the circuit, the electrical circuit of your left brain. Your right brain, which is 90%, is a magnetic field. Left brain, electrical circuit. Right brain, magnetic field. And that is healing. And then, of course, that changes your frequency. And then that's you helping everyone in the world, because your frequency is now being sent out, and it's healing the mother, and it's healing your neighbors and your children.
So in balance, it's doing the whole Ouroboros.
Yeah, that's exactly right. By the way, this is the actual shape of what this new quantum financial system looks like. I kid you not. the movement of the money and within this system is now a double sine wave. It is a torus field. You cannot make this stuff up. It is so beautiful. And the old system, by the way, with the Rockefellers, the old Federal Reserve banking system that we had for 100 years was the Star of David. And it was the upside down pyramid and the right side up pyramid. The upside is the masculine, the down is the sacred feminine, and this creating the Star of David. And it was them controlling us through controlling
so a lot of
our physiology.
Stagnant corners.
Yes, that's right.
Not a lot of
ease and flow, and
yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So literally, if I could draw out for you what this, how the flow works with this new quantum financial system, it flows like the double Ouroboros, the double sine wave, the torus field, the torus. This is wow. So wow.
Whole new paradigm
Whole
shift
new
for
paradigm.
all of us. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Just open our minds and our hearts and do the healing. And I just wanted to quickly clarify that although we're not changing what we've been doing, we're still doing the work. So we're still eating the Garden of Eden lifestyle. We're still doing the meditation. We're still doing all those things, but we try not to focus on the 2 days or 3, depending on of that process happening. So we're just trying to live our lives to just gear up for whenever that might happen. It's going to happen, and it's going to be beautiful. So and maybe in the future we'll do a little more tweaking. But any more questions,
Justin?
Yeah, so thanks for answering that. Yeah, so I was looking at trying to program a repeating reminder in my calendar on this Gregorian system, and it was very difficult to get it in that way. So I'm really glad that that I could just do everything right all the time and keep it consistent. That's really simple. So I appreciate that. Another question I had was surrounding, a lot of the talks around what's going to happen election day here in the US and potential media blackouts, declaring the victor as the incorrect one, declaring Biden as the victor, even though Trump won. Do you guys have any insight into what's going to happen or any advice? I mean, obviously going inward, and that's the most important thing. That's why we're here. But just, playing around with this external field as well and what's going to happen. Just would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Great question, Justin. And I did a very important podcast with Alpa Sony yesterday. And just so everybody knows, Alpa wanted to promote the show in advance. And so these demons were waiting for us, in particular us. And so when we tried to do the show, which was in the afternoon for us, every time I spoke, they completely obliterated our signal, and we could barely make out anything of what I was trying to say. It was brutal. So we just said, even try to fight this. And Alpa was amazing. She said, you know what, I'll go to bed early. I'll get up at 6 a.m. And I said, yeah, I'll just stay up through the night and I'll wait for you. And so in the wee hours of the morning, where nobody was harassing us or interfering with the signal, we sat down and we did a 2-hour just stream of consciousness podcast of this really important information and the question that you asked. So that will come out later today. But I just wanted to share that again, how badly they don't want this information getting out. So with regard to, to what's going on, there's a narrative, and remember, the victory has been won. The game is over. It's been over for a long time. So you're watching a movie, but the key aspect moving forward is that if the mainstream media doesn't collapse, then nothing's going to change. We're just going to with 50% of the population that have their heads, where, and they're ignorant to everything that is really going on. So we allow the mainstream media last heinous thing. They are absolutely going to the Democratic Party and their narrative. So what's going to happen is election night, they're going to say, well, this is going to be a big Joe Biden victory tonight because all the pre-polls are showing Biden way ahead. No, not even close. He's going to lose by so much. It's unbelievable. But they're going to, say this. And then during
Which
the
they
night,
already are saying that actually. They're
that's right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then during the night, they're going to go, oh, wow, look at the numbers with Trump. This is something we've been talking about. Yes, we've been talking about this. Yeah. And so what's going on? Trump will not leave the White House. He's lost. He's a loser. He's a liar, and he's all these things. And he's not going to willingly leave the White House. So they're rigging the election. Yeah, that's what's going on. And so remember, on the back of this are these paid Antifa riders, and they have been lounging around for weeks now, getting ready for 11/4. And then the morning of 11/4, they're going to go out in all these major centers. And all of this is designed to get the average liberal, the average Democrat out of their house as well, and get them to protest, and then just turn America into a civil war, turn it into absolute violence on the street between the left and the right. And then in that chaos, Nancy Pelosi and the Congress would declare an uncertain and an unsubstantiated election result. And so then she would take control of the government while an independent body examines the election results to determine whether or not there was election fraud. And of course, during that time, the game would be over. They would unleash whatever they needed to unleash, and we would go into concentration camps, and that would be it. Believe me.
But that won't happen. So what will they do?
Not going to happen. So very quietly, what's been going on for the last 6 weeks is that in every country, not just the United States, but in every country, armed forces have been returning home en masse quietly, and they are there in all of the major cities, and they're there to support the National Guard. So the National Guard have already been rolled out to all the major centers to know they know everything that Antifa is planning. They know when and they know where. So they're there, and then the military is there. And what they're going to do, and I can't possibly say if they're going to let this continue for half a day, for a full day, for 2 days, but it'll be very long. It will not be very at all. And then Trump is just going to crack on protesters so that make sure nobody gets hurt. And then about the election of the election results will be revealed, and then the subterfuge lying by the Democratic Party and the reporting of the mainstream media will be revealed. And then this is going to be this straw that breaks the camel's back for the mainstream media, and people are going to go, wow, okay, is true. They're just laying out the corners of, to avoid their fate. And so this is master plan.
And all the while, there'll be things still being leaked out, I would assume, about Hillary and the laptops, and all this information will still be coming. The Hunter Biden thing, Joe Biden, all of this. So it will also be top of all that's happening. So there's going to be a lot of information to process very quickly.
And remember, everybody, biblically, the rains started for Noah. 40 days and 40 nights of rain started when it converts from the Hebrew Bible or the Hebrew calendar to our calendar. 11/4, the rain started falling for 40 days and 40 nights. And this is symbolic of the reign of truth. So this is REIGN, the reign of truth falling, the purple rain of truth falling down on these demons. And
there's nowhere to hide anywhere.
No.
It's all coming down.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the symbology of Noah's Ark. So the thing that I want to share with you, you can't make this stuff up because they don't determine Super Tuesday. This is the first Tuesday of November for the presidential election. And it just happens to be the day before the rains start with Noah. Noah had everybody in the ark on November 3rd, and he was ready for November 4th, and we need to be ready. And then remember, everybody, what is November 5th? Remember the 5th of November. There's no reason I can think that we should ever forget the 5th of November and the gunpowder treason plot, because Guy Fawkes was the last honest parliamentarian that existed. And what did he attempt to do? He attempted to blow the demonic realm apart. He attempted to blow the lie that had become parliamentary government to smithereens. And he was willing to die for his beliefs. I believe, you know, you begin to see the character of John F. Kennedy Jr. You really do, you know, because we're about the same age. And I was July 63, he's November of 60, so we're about the same age. So, you know, you see, I did the video on, is he John Galt? And you know, he must have fallen in love with those Ayn Rand books, you know, like I did, and really identified with John Galt. And now we're, you know, initially Colleen and I were sort of hearing maybe 10, 12 names. Now we're hearing like 50, 60 names of amazing people who have been John Galted. So they're not
and there
dead.
Isn't a day that goes by that we're like, do you think maybe? What about this person? We're like, maybe. It's fun. We're just like, well, maybe.
So they've been doing this for a while, because you can read the writing on the wall, right? As symbology will be their downfall, because you see, this is God's symbology and it's God's numerology. They use it for evil purposes, but these numbers and these symbols are not bad. They're
we're
great.
taking them back.
That's darn right. We're going to take them back. And so
they belong to mankind. This is not a Illuminati Kabbalist.
Exactly.
You know, it's not theirs. So they've perverted it. They've usurped it. But the rainbow's coming back to us. The unicorn, the serpent, the snake. It does not belong to these people.
No.
These are beautiful symbols and images, and I'm taking them back. So if you guys want to join me, that's great. We're not letting them have them, and they're no longer going to pervert our languages. We're going to change all of that. That's the work we have to do, is to take back our power, to take back all of the things that God gave us. I'm using my pen. I'm intense. But that's how I feel. It's like, no, you can't have those things. And no more of the superstition where we're looking at each other going, oh my God, she just did the triangle. No, I'm taking back the pyramid. I'm taking back the number 33. All of these things are ours, and they're no longer going to be inverted and perverted.
Yeah, they're demons, and they're left-brainers. Left brain doesn't create anything. It steals, right? Yeah, that's what they do.
But
they copy the answers off the smart right brain kids.
In balance, the left brain will be lovely because it will be in harmony and we'll use it. But for right now, it's out of sync and it needs to get back in. So that's the ego part of us too. And so that's the work we also do, is definitely working on the ego. And anyway, take it away, John.
So that's what's coming. And so don't be frustrated and don't be afraid. So by the way, I predicted this before, and I guarantee you, I'm just going to go out on that limb, and I'm guaranteeing that November 3rd, it is the red tidal wave. And yes, 50-0, 50-0. And I'll tell you why, because they've been cheating in New Jersey, New York, California, Oregon, and Washington in particular. Those 5 states, everybody just says, well, those are Democratic strongholds. No matter what, those are going to go Democratic.
So the question is, have they ever had an election where it wasn't rigged?
Nope.
Have they ever had an election?
Nope.
An honest election?
Nope.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We're thinking no.
No.
We've been told no.
Yeah.
So maybe this will be an amazing one where we're just like, wow.
You watch how California goes for Trump, and then everything is going to collapse for these demons. Everything is going red. And the thing that is just so important to remember is that Trump hasn't just been doing this internationally and taking down corporations and countries and agencies and three-letter agency. He's been taking down the Republican Party, so that everyone who is running for a seat on 11.3 is a person that is 100% in line with goodliness and godliness.
So we're looking at merit attrition
So
versus,
yeah. So think about the brilliance of this, and this is so godly, it's unbelievable. But we wake up 11.4, and the entire political landscape in America is now 100%, 100% in the hands of people who believe in God, want to do what's right, want to help, want to share. And I just, the changes that are coming are going to be massive, and they're going to be swift, because there's no obstacles in the road. And that's what they've done for 100 years. They said no to Tesla, and they went with this bullcrap of Einstein and theories and the left brain, and we've paid for it with the lives of our children. And now it's time to go back to Nikola Tesla, and it's time to go back to God. It's time to treat each other with love and fairness and kindness as one large family. And it's going to happen. It's going to be amazing.
it's going to be golden. Next question.
So I love that, because there's so many comments coming in that Anthony says,
love you, Anthony.
Yeah, and I mean, just like the comment section is like, I'm in California, and I'm telling you that the state is red now. And obviously we're not hearing this in the news, right? Like the news is not in our favor. And actually I have a story to share. This today I was at the radio, on a radio show. I'm not going to say which one. And I got asked, so what are your thoughts on Trump? And they'd been, just before I got on the show, they'd been bitching about how Trump is evil and blah, 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 blah. And then I come in and I'm like already shaken, right? Like, I don't want to argue. You cannot argue with anybody. So they're like, Davina, what do you think about Trump? I'm like, no comment. I mean, I don't want to take part in this. So then they look at me, they're like, what is wrong with you? Look at you saying no comment. I'm like, you don't argue with fools. That's what I'm telling myself. Right? And it's like the propaganda that goes on against Trump, it's unbelievable. The whole media believes it, which means we believe it. And that's where we need to come in and change first our perception, start changing things around us, our family, our community, our neighbors. That's where the conversation happens. And from there on, is it a larger scale, a global scale, right? So wonderful to see that. And I'm so glad I'm listening to this podcast live, because I get to hear what's going to happen on the 4th. So after the elections. Thank you very much. Next question. Thank you, Justin. Wonderful.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
thank
Just
you.
wanted to say I love y'all. I can't wait to come visit in Mexico. And yeah, really excited about that.
Love to have
Thank
you.
you, guys. Much love.
So are we, Justin. Thank you, Justin. We love you so much.
We've got Neil, and I believe it's Linda. Linda, did I see an email from you as well?
It's Eileen.
Sorry, what's your name?
Eileen.
Eileen.
Yes.
Thank you. And they are from Quebec. So
Whoa!
Canada, Canadians, and they've been waiting very patiently. So please go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you for all you do. We're really grateful to be here with you guys today. If you could tell us everything you know about what's going on here in Canada, especially I find the two provinces, Quebec and Ontario, are getting hit hard. It's kind of hard to live through this. They're talking about no Christmas gatherings. Right now, we can't have anybody in our house. Police could come into your house right now without, just getting a tele warrant and getting if they suspect somebody other than your family members, that don't live in the house, they could come in and arrest them or give them fines or whatever. I heard that there's UN police in Montreal, like on the south shore of Montreal. We're hearing that there's Chinese troops on the border of Quebec and Maine. I also had read that Montreal is going to be a smart city. Maybe that's why those UN police are there. I don't know. I know you addressed this a little bit last week about like the debt recovery with getting mixed up with the Nasera Jacera thing, and also the internment camps that we're hearing about, riot gear, tear gas that they're ordering throughout Canada. I mean, would you be able to give us more information, like everything you know, especially, I guess, on the leaders as well? And I guess it just seems to be getting worse, and it's, I don't know, I just feel like I need to
Reassurance.
navigate it, like what I should be doing. I almost like want to escape, you know, I want to, I don't know, do we go to the States? Do we stay? Like, it's just crazy. Like,
It is, and I think, yeah. And again, we're born and raised in Canada. We're Canadians, and you know, Canadians are. I think everybody in the world is. So I don't want to single out Canadians as being better than anybody else, but we're, the thing about us Canadians is that we grow up really humbly, and I think that's a really good thing. It's not that we have low self-esteem. We just don't see ourselves as omnipresent and you know, all, you know, and that we need to conquer the world. And you know, Canadians, we're just happy, you know, being happy and going about our lives. And so to see what's going on in the last 6 weeks in Canada is so disheartening to both of us. But you know, Canadians are easy to pick on because we are so easygoing, and we do care. We're a lot of care and compassion with regard to Canadians, and so they're picking on you. And why Quebec? Because Quebec has been the pipeline to New York. You just need to know this. Montreal, old Quebec, the tunnels that exist are like, there are trains that take you from New York to Montreal in minutes. So it has been a hub for them for secrecy for so long. So when they need hired killers to come in and whack a president in Dallas, Texas, you bring them in through Montreal. Everybody comes in through, if it's Southern Hemisphere, it's through Mexico City, which the CIA owns, has for ages. And when it's the Northern Hemisphere, it's through Montreal. Montreal is a city that is owned by demons, and the Bronfman family they're just thugs. They're just thugs, but they do a good job as thugs of threatening, bullying Canadians and keeping control of what the cabal
and there's some other elite families too.
For sure. But it basically runs through the Bronfman crime family, which is part of the Clinton Foundation. So, which the Biden crime family is part of as well. So you just need to really begin to look at the world as crime families, because exactly, in the Catholic Church, you just need to wrap your heads around this one. They wear dresses, and you know, and they've got a cross on and stuff, and they got incense swinging. No, these guys are bandits. They are absolute pirates, and they're mercenaries.
The upper
war.
echelon of the Vatican's for sure.
Yeah.
There are some priests that have no clue as to what's going on.
For sure. Yeah, are you know, caring, but they're in a system that doesn't promote what the Bible teaches. So so it's evil, and Quebec is so beautiful. Quebec is so beautiful. I played football there many times, and it is so beautiful in Quebec. It's an amazing gift to have that French culture intertwined with the rest of Canada. It's an amazing gift. But it has been the den of these vipers, and that's why. So that's why they're the worst. And that government is evil, pure, and they're going down. When these 10 days of darkness hit, you will not see these people again. Justin Trudeau has not run Canada for, I would say, 6 months. So there is a shadow government that exists in Canada. It is making sure that the basic requirements that is necessary for the banks to stay open. Because remember, these banks, if left to themselves, they would have just walked away with our money, and they would not be here still providing, you know, access to our money and providing services. If Donald Trump, wrap your heads around this, if Donald Trump didn't force them to do this, we would have crisis after crisis after crisis, because these demons, what do you think they're hanging around for? Like some miracle's going to happen? They don't believe in miracles. They have got no God in them. So Trump has been Canada's savior, just he's been Australia's savior, New Zealand's savior, and Ireland's savior, and France, blah, 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 everywhere. And Canada is the neighbor of the United States. They're not letting any of these shenanigans go on. But what's been released in Canada in the last 6 weeks is true in the sense that this is what was being planned. None of this is going to happen. You don't have to worry about anything. Trump has so many American troops on the border right now, because if Canadian troops need any help in any of the major centers, the American military are there to come in and provide aid as well. You nothing to worry about.
And we're hoping that Mexico's the same way, 'cause we're right below it.
That's right.
Right below.
Please. A lot of demons.
And we have,
there.
we have a lot of demons here. So we feel you. We know what you're going through.
Yeah, we do. So, but it's not going to happen. But all this stuff that came out in those documents with the Liberal Caucus Party, those minutes about, and see, oh my God, November crackdown, worse than anything before. Massive restrictions, not allowed to leave your city, no inter-province travel, no out-of-province travel, nothing. You're shut down. And then what did they say in those minutes from that meeting of the Liberal Caucus? That in December, there was going to be a second outbreak of COVID, and it was going to be horrific. There were going to be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Canadians dying from the COVID. And that's incredible because it doesn't even exist. So that's a heck of a trick, 100,000 people dying from the common. Wow, that's good. And then what did they say? That they were going to roll out a crisis. They were going to declare a crisis situation, and then they were going to roll out this new financial system. So you see the danger with this NESARA, GESARA stuff, and it's because they've had their plan all along, which goes to these Saint Germain protocols, which is you can have all of these things, but you got to sign your soul away. No, I don't want to sign my soul away. So you. And that's what these documents were for. These documents in Canada, what they're saying is that we're going to give you a universal living wage, and all of your debt is going to be eliminated. You got no more debt. And if you sign the deal, your travel restrictions are lifted, which is amazing, right? Because just because you signed a paper, how does that make you immune carrying the COVID and catching it or spreading it the rest of Canada? But somehow, amazing way, you sign this contract and the COVID's no longer a problem with you. You're free to travel. And if you don't sign it, that's what all of these concentration camps that they built in every single province and every single territory are for. And what that document said is that there will go Canadians that will not agree, and they will stay there until they agree. And these ministers are going, I can't sell this. I cannot sell this. Canadians are not stupid. They're not going to go for this. And the response was, you have to make them go for this, because if they don't, they're not leaving those camps. So that was forcibly taking. And remember, to get this debt removal and the universal living wage and the freedom to travel wherever you wish, whenever you wish, you have to forfeit all of your assets. So your home, your car, anything that you own, you have to sign over to the government. And see, that takes you from a living man, child of God, and it makes you a person. And a person is a ship at sea. A person does not exist. It is a ruse. It is a mask. And they can do anything to you when you sign that contract. And then this is how they were going to get to the Georgia Guidestones plan of 500 million people down from
and
7 billion.
They also
people.
had, we were just reading 107's book.
Incredible.
Incredible, The Kid by the Side of the Road. And he was stating in there that there have been many attempts many plans that they had, for instance, to bomb Seattle, So during this time, they would have had lots of chaos happening. And so we would have been even more fearful.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Seattle had been bombed? And of course, they
Yeah.
had other things that they have been planning as well, that they have, that the good guys have nixed.
Yeah.
So they've been very hard at work behind the scenes, taking away all of what the cabal would have been doing. But of course, these plans about GESARA and the rolling out of the money, and then the coinciding with what we have to do, or what the white hats have to do at this point, to keep people from, you know, starving to death because they're unable to work because of the COVID restrictions and so on and so forth. So that without having this, the cabal's plan mixed in, they have to call it something else. So they can no longer call it, you know, GESARA, or it's a whole different ballgame. So
Yeah, quantum financial system. And remember, the quantum financial system removes banking. There will no longer be banks. There will no longer be banking. Banking is illegal. It's based on usury. It's
So
all fake.
what, there'll be no buildings that you go into, or what you're saying, it's just all online? Or-
That's right. And it's all based on your DNA. So if somebody, why would somebody rob you? Because if they steal your real gold-based, precious metal-based currency, or money, real value, if they steal it from you, they can't spend it because it's not you. So there's no necessity for crime moving forward, because it does nothing. It does nothing if somebody attempts to steal your money. They can't spend it because it's tied to your DNA. That's how complex this new system is. And that's what they encouraged us. Think of this as much metaphysical as you will physical. And then you'll come to begin to understand what this quantum financial system, this torus field, this double sine wave is really all about. And it's about
So it's
human consciousness.
It's going to take us some time to wrap our heads around that, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
he understands it so much more than I do, but there's like different levels, and yeah, it's going to be amazing.
So breathe, relax. You are so loved in Canada. Donald Trump and the Americans love Canadians and Canada. You're their neighbors. That nothing is going to happen to you at all. They cannot wait for this rollout. Down goes Canada, up comes Kanata, and then for the first time ever, because the truth is going to come out. There has never been a free Canada. We have been and remain to this day. Canada is tied to the London cabal, which the people think is the Queen. It's the Rothschilds and the Rothschild banking system in the city of London. That's right. So Canada was owned right to this day. Canada has never been free. Canada is owned by the city of London, which is the Rothschild banking system.
Yep. No more.
Yeah, no, please ask. You ask. This is your great chance. Please ask.
Thank you so much. And Charlie and Colleen, we have so many questions, from the Bible to music to Killary to, my goodness, it's a little bit, what do you want to address first? Neil and Eileen, do you have another question? Please go ahead.
No, no, thanks very much for
Thank you.
your insight. Kind of makes us feel better that and at least you're so positive, and sometimes we find ourselves in sort of like this this negative spin, because it just keeps coming and coming and coming.
And it will keep coming.
And all this other information. So, I know we got to take a deep breath and sort of just like, okay, it's all going to be good. So
I promise you, and Neil, I promise you that it will. So I'm not just sort of saying this to make you feel better. I promise you that it will, that you are so loved and you're so protected. Nothing bad is going to happen to Canadians. Not at all. You're Canadians are such goodly people, and remember, this is as much about God as it is about Donald Trump and the Q team and any of that as well. So no, you have nothing to worry about. And what's coming forward is going to be beautiful. And just think about living in Canada without having to worry about money, and then getting to really enjoy that country. That's incredible, right? Because what a country, what a country that is. Yeah, what a country Canada is.
Well, thanks very much.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Bye,
Thank
Neil.
you.
Bye, Eileen.
Bye-bye.
Nice to meet you.
Canada.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Charlie,
Thanks, Davina.
Canada is great, but it's a little bit too cold. Just so we know.
That's why we're here.
You know, we're all coming to Mexico, and we're like, you know, we're taking care of your animals, so you guys can go on a holiday. How's that? I like that.
Oh, I really like that
Nice.
idea. I could
Oh,
use a
yeah.
holiday.
So I'm just gonna read a couple of questions that I have that Lokesh sent to me. And those of you who are just joining in, Lokesh is busy at work today, so I'm co-hosting for Lokesh. And my name is Davina Kaur, and I'm the founder of the Sexy Brilliant Nonprofit Foundation. And we are a registered foundation to remove toxic shame and raise human consciousness. And Charlie and Colleen are here. If you don't know Charlene and Colleen, they are Canadians and who now live and have an animal rescue shelter in Mexico. Colleen and Charlie, please introduce yourself again for those of you who are just joining in. I know a lot of the Sexy Brilliant community are here. And I also want to mention to everybody who likes to read that I am a published author of Too Fat, Too Loud, Too Ambitious. It's a self-help spiritual workbook. So it's got a lot of questions and a lot of working, inner work, knowing, self-knowledge. And it's a little bit X-rated. So, so don't tell my parents about it. But to anybody who needs that. So let's go into questions now. And thank you so much for all that you guys do. You guys are brilliant. We love you. And let me read the questions. So Charlie, can you speak about the water belt in relation to the DUMBs, DUMBS? Are the DUMBs responsible for the water belt decreasing, and are there plans to increase the water belt? First of all, what is a water belt? Is it the water like underground? Is that what we're talking about here? So
Probably the water level.
Yeah.
I would assume they meant the water level.
Yeah, well, and that is what it's called because underneath the surface, in the subsurface, there are belts of different components, including the water as well, which has been dwindling a lot. And we've noticed it here too. We should have an enormous amount of water right now. And we, for some reason, we don't. And even in our little community here, little middle of nowhere part of Mexico, and for what, 5 days in a row, day and night, bombs going off again and again and again and again. There are tunnels
It's hard to know
everywhere.
if it's the church. The church sets off bombs too. They're terrorists. But anyway, but yeah, no, there's been some big ones we've heard further away than the church. So go ahead about the water level.
No, for sure. And it'll correct itself. Essentially, remember Professor Tolkien, The Lord of the Rings, and the destruction of Saruman, who was supposed to be the white wizard. He was supposed to be the goodly, godly white politician to come and help mankind, but instead Saruman succumbed to the lure of the ring, which is the left brain, the crown of Kronos, the ego. And Saruman turned vile, and he went from white to Saruman of the many colored, and he fell. And so what did they have to do? What did Gandalf instruct the Ents to do? To take the waters of the River Isen and pour them again and again and again. And that's right. And pour them into the holes where these rats were hiding, because that's what the Cabal are. Sorry, Canaanites of the left brain, that's what they are. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the 13 bloodline families, they're rats. That's why everything is underground.
Which is a shame because rats are actually quite beautiful. So it's
yeah, they've given rats a bad name, and that's what they are. They scurry underground. That's what they do. And so you see the parallels once again to what's going on the pages of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. He knew. So he was writing about us.
While there could be some water going down into the tunnels as they excavate, they're also blowing up. So there will be an implosion, right?
Yeah,
so
implosion, yeah.
So I would assume that the water levels will find balance at some point.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, that's what Tolkien was writing about. So honestly, to ease your mind, just go, Flotsam and Jetsam and the chapters of the taking down of Isengard, Treebeard, the Ents. You can read that for yourself and you can see. So that's what's sort of happening. And again, they will balance themselves out. And if it's a bit frustrating for you for now, just remember why and the benefits of us doing this. So we all have to just sort of pull our belts a little tighter and remember, who we're doing this for, ultimately our children and then all of mankind. So.
Any other
Thank
questions?
you, Charlie. Thank you, Charlie. And I'm going to start the questions from the top. So we have a question which we received on email, and it's from Linda in Montreal. Hi, Linda. Come and say hi to me. You should move in with me, okay? I'm joking, but we should have dinner together. What are your thoughts on alternate nostril breathing, as well as the Tibetan 5 rites? Thank you so much in advance and sending you all my love. This is Linda.
Yeah,
I can answer the alternate nostril breathing because I'm a trained yoga teacher.
Oh, nice.
And I mean, I can talk about it from the yoga as a practitioner who I grew up with yoga in India, and I actually every morning use alternate nostril breathing, which is called the Kapalabhati, and then followed by Viloma. I'm mispronouncing it because I'm so nervous right now. But yeah, so you just breathe in. You have, the left hand is on the whatever mudra that is, and the right hand is this way, and then you just breathe in. You start from your left side because it is the cooler side of the body, and then you inhale there are videos on this, and then hold the breath and then exhale and then continue doing that. And then the thing with that is that you always start on the left side and you always finish on the left side because this is the cooler side of the body, the left side. So Charlie, your turn for this answer.
So your explanation was great, and it explained it physically. And then, of course, there is, with all of the yogic teachings, there is a higher, and that is the metaphysical explanation for it. And this is teaching you to recognize that there are two parts to you. And the reason that it starts with the left side, because that is the access into the left hemisphere of the brain, which is the physical, that is the grounded part of you within this material plane. And so you're breathing through the left, introducing the breath of God where it needs to go. And that's why you start on the left, and that's why you finish on the left, because that's where the breath of God needs to go. When you breathe, no matter what practice that you want to follow, just remember, there with everything, like we said earlier with sex, everything, there's a right way and a wrong way. What you've been taught by organized society, I guarantee you, is the wrong way to do everything. They hate you and they want you to die as fast as possible. I know that sounds horrific, but it's true. The right way will give you life. And the right way to breathe is what is called diaphragmatic breathing. I just did that wonderful podcast with the wonderful Mimi Gund, who is a great yoga practitioner as well. And she's written an incredible book, which you can just go into the show notes for the podcast with Mimi, about the correct practice of yoga and how it starts, begins and ends with your breathing. If you're not breathing correctly, basically what yoga is, as Mimi says, is a slow boat to China. And you need to have results, and the results will come if you breathe properly. So
you know how I look at it? I look at it breath as the breath of God.
Yes.
And you want as much as that as you can inside of you. I mean, you don't want to hyperventilate, but you would like to have the breath of God working for you, and then breathe it out, and then breathe in the breath of God. It's like, and it helps you to be more virtuous, and you kind of keep that intention going. But that's just how I look at it anyway. It helps me to breathe deeper.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the truth, because the ether is God. we're created in God's image, which is everything is our magnetic electrical reality. So me, am E, Krishna in the pages of the Bhagavad Gita. I am me, I am me, I am me, 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 me. The magnetic electrical ether. I am God, the child of God is us, which is me. So we're made in God's image, which is the magnetic electrical ether. So when you breathe, you're breathing in God. So why do we all feel so godless and so disconnected from God that God has no presence in us? How does everybody breathe? They're not conscious of their breathing at all, and therefore it's shallow breathing. So you got all this stale air that stays inside of you that's filled with, bacteria, whatever, and it is unhealthy, stale air. And all we do is this. Barely see that you're doing anything, barely see that you're breathing. You are a shallow breather, and a shallow breather is going to die.
And it's even worse if you're wearing a mask.
Exactly, because you're accentuating in all of the bacteria, unhealthy. So it's just a complete unhealthy situation inside of you, which is why, by the way, all of the elderly are dying with respiratory failure because, again, not breathing properly. All of this resides in your lungs. So you have to breathe what is called diaphragmatically, and that is the Buddha breath. So you see all these images of the Buddha, and the Buddha is a big fat guy, and that's because Buddha loved cheeseburgers, and he
always used that cheeseburger.
He
didn't eat cheeseburger.
No, he didn't eat cheeseburger, and he's probably a breatharian. So again, the reason that Buddha has the big belly is because he's breathing correctly. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. And the right way to breathe is the Buddha breath, which is diaphragmatic breathing. So how do you breathe? No matter how you want to do, how do you breathe? You breathe in like Colleen said so beautifully, you passionately breathe in God, because that is what you're breathing. You're the air, which is the ether, is God. So you're the truth. So breathe in God passionately and visualize it and force it all the way down with a pelvic tilt down into your belly, the Buddha belly. And then the return, essentially it does itself. Mimi was talking about what this little yoga exercise with the 2 palm leaves shows. You put a palm leaf on your chest and you put a palm leaf on your stomach, and then you simply observe. And what you will see is that when you're breathing just normally, you'll see that you're breathing, hello, beautiful. And what you'll see is that when you're breathing normally, just even unconsciously, you're breathing the Buddha breath, you're breathing the proper way. So what you'll notice is that your stomach is moving first. Yeah, believe it or not, that when you're breathing, you're going to notice the palm leaf on your stomach move first and last. So why did Buddha have the big belly? Because breathing starts and ends with the belly. That's why they're making a big deal out of your belly. Breathe correctly. That is the Buddha breath. So diaphragmatic breathing means that the first thing you're going to be doing is pulling all of that air into your belly. The diaphragm pushes it back out. So you'll see the chest move first on the exhale, and then you'll see the stomach move last on the exhale.
So Buddha was full of God.
Buddha was absolutely full of
God's
God.
breath.
Yes.
His belly was big.
Yeah. So that's breathing. So however you want to do it, or different techniques. And by the way, the 5 Tibetan rites of the 5 basic movements and shapes of the Tibetan rite of yoga are fantastic. There's just a core level. And by the way, you see at a metaphysical level, these 5 shapes are all designed for you to free the rigidness of your 5 physical senses. So that's the whole point of the 5 Tibetan rites of yoga, is to create these basic shapes that are designed to open your eyes and see. That is to open your nostrils and truly breathe in, is to open the pores of your skin and truly feel. That's what this is. Again, if it's not taught properly, all of this genius, this metaphysical genius of these ancient Eastern practices gets lost in translation. You have to do it the right way. There's a right way and a wrong way. So if you want to do the 5 Tibetan rites of yoga, then do it correctly. If you're not doing it correctly, it's a slow boat to China. It's not going to do anything for you. And remember, everything starts and stops with your breathing. Like Josh and Colleen and myself, what we teach all the time is that it's about the food you eat and the breaths that you take.
And the thoughts that you take or don't take.
The thoughts that you do or don't take, which are massively influenced by your food and your breathing. So the food and the breathing are the basics. Reading, writing, arithmetic, and that's the basis to you. Is the food you eat and the breath that you take. Therefore, the thoughts that you do or don't take. And there's a right way and there's a wrong way, and we've been doing it the wrong way. Sorry, but it's true.
Well, most of us. Maybe not all of us.
Collectively.
Thank you so much. And my goodness, so many more questions coming in the live chat as well as through the questions on email. Charlie, should we talk about death?
What's there to know? There's no such thing as death. You don't die, you exist forever. There is no such thing as linear time. There's no such thing as time. Stop it. Stop this ridiculous fantasy about time.
We've been lied to about what death is. There is no ending.
You have a choice. This is the heart and soul of what Colleen and I teach is this. You have a choice. Nobody, very few people in the history of modern civilization have even uttered these words, but you have a choice. You can experience death in the physical form and go around and around and around and around the wheel of the great samsara, or you can be here and now for all time in this vessel. That's what this is. This is vessel.
George Harrison wrote that song, Be Here Now.
That's right. And it's in our top 20 of the top 20 best and most important songs. Song. Be Here Now, George Harrison, just one of the greatest songs. We'll get to that soon.
Great homework. Go ahead and look it up on YouTube and listen to it.
Yeah. A mind that wanders is an unwise mind. Unwise mind. In the video that we saw,
that's what the cabal has done. Is they've asked us to wander with our mind down lots of different corners. Oh, what a beautiful little baby. So yeah.
This is
sorry, Davina.
Lionel, and he's a therapy dog. So he actually helps older people in the building and takes care of them. I've seen him for the first time in 8 months. And it's been hard without a baby.
Where was he? Where he was in?
So he's a therapy dog, and he lives, well, now he's my dog, but he lives with my neighbor because my neighbor's 90 years old and is disabled. So, he's lonely. So Lionel's been living there for the last 8 months.
Wow.
But this is
beautiful.
When you start looking at everything and everyone around you as your brother, your sister, your father, your mother, your community, and it's okay to give up your dog. It's been hard, no doubt it's been hard on our mental health to be without a dog. He takes us out for a walk, but he's back because it's my birthday, so he's back for a little bit.
Oh, happy born
day. You're not a ship at sea. You're not birth or docked. It's happy born day.
Happy born day.
Yeah.
So that's how we refer to it, as happy born day. And then, it's a privilege to be alive, honestly, with everything going on in the world. And my goodness, it's a crazy, crazy time. So we have a question. Next question. my goodness, so many questions. I'm from Holland, Ingrid from Holland, and I'm trying to write in English. It's a little bit difficult. I have a question. In the Bible, it is telling us to praying in spirit. You receive it after baptism in Holy Spirit. I received it, but when do I understand that things are different and the Bible is an allegory? But now I wonder, what did I pray in that language? The Bible is talking about 1,000 years of peace and then again a period of struggle. How do you see this? Thanks and all my love, Ingrid. And I'm sorry I'm reading it as it is, so that might be a reason that the English is not clear. Charlie, does that make sense?
Sure, you bet.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Yeah, and just to complete what we were just saying with the previous question about life and death, remember, Jesus says consistently, just so much of the Bible is all about maritime admiralty law and getting away of this false system of birthing. So I was really glad that you said happy birthday, because this is so much of the Bible is speaking to this. And that is that you are a child of the dry land, the still dry land, not a victim of the sea. And the seas are an allegory. The sea is lawlessness. It is chaos, and it can become stormy upon a moment's notice, which is your left brain. The land is the stillness and silence of God, and it is perfection, it is harmony, it is balance. That's why everything we see on the land is attempting to achieve homeostasis. That's why there's wind to attempt to achieve it. So what is so important to note is that God is the God of the living, not the dead. Jesus makes this so clear in the pages of the Bible that you need to do the work, as Colleen talks about all the time, to live. What are you doing getting so busy and ready to die? There's no gift coming to you for when you die. If you think when you die and you're going to go to heaven, you're sadly mistaken, because all you've done is to ensure that you come back on the wheel. And remember, where you left is where you return. So if you continue to go down and down and down to Goblin Town in your life, it means that when you're reborn, you're going to find different parents, and that situation is going to get worse and worse and worse until one day you start doing the work. See, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, that's what it's about. This is what it's about. If you knew the true meaning of Christ Mass, Colleen and I have an incredible podcast about the true meaning of Christmas, Christ Mass, and the work that you need to do.
It's buried way down in the YouTube.
Then you would see that the story isn't a nice Christmas story about Ebenezer Scrooge. No. Dickens is writing about the work that you have to do to live. And it doesn't matter how bad you've been, and it doesn't matter how old you are. It's never too late. It's never too late to save you. It's never too late to save you, because God doesn't judge. You are the child of his creation. He loves you eternally and is waiting for you to just get it right. Cast thy net to the right, go to the right. It's all about the right. And that's what A Christmas Carol by Dickens and Ebenezer Scrooge is about. It's letting go of the left brain for the charity and alms of the right hemisphere of the brain.
Becoming virtuous.
Has nothing to do with Christmas, has nothing to do with the Christmas season, except Christ Mass is the raising of the chrism oil, which is Christ consciousness within you. That's what we must be. We must be Christ on the pages of the Bible, which is the chrism oil within us. When we become righteous, we become Jesus Christ. Do you want to be? I want to be that. I want to be that beautiful person in and on those pages. That's what I want.
So the question about...
So, and then jumping over to Ingrid in the Bible and the allegory, beautiful segue, and about prayer. The Bible doesn't teach prayer. The Bible teaches meditation. And by the way, is the Bible an allegory? There's over 1,000 passages in both the Old and the New Testament where it specifically says that the Bible is an allegory? What do all of the apostles say about Jesus Christ? Jesus never said anything but in the form of a parable. Jesus only spoke in parables. A parable, simile, is an allegory. The Bible is an allegory. Jesus never spoke but in a parable. Parables of the New Testament. That's the whole Bible is an allegory. The whole Bible is an allegory. So with regard to prayer, there's no better place to start than the book of Matthew in the New Testament, and then chapter 6. I could recite chapter 6 of Matthew verbatim from memory because I've read it so many times. Chapter 6 is this incredible process of going within and shining your light and becoming Christ consciousness. It's incredible. It's just an incredible story. Matthew chapter 6. And so in 6:6 starts this passage of what prayer is. And when you pray, enter into thy closet and shut thy door. What do you think he's talking about? Enter into thy closet and shut thy door. And at the back of the third ventricle of the brain, by the way, is Santa Claus, the sainted claustrum. And what does claustrum mean? Claustrum means cloister, or cloister, which is closet. So it means that you go within to the inner room of Solomon's temple, right? Solomon's temple in the Old Testament of the Bible is you. It's not about some golden temple out there. It's your golden temple. It's alchemy. It's you. Solomon's temple is describing you in exact representations. It is staggering how right they were with everything, location, size. It's brilliant.
So human physiology.
So so when thou dost pray, enter into thy closet and shut the door. You go within. And then what does Jesus say? And he said that when you enter into thy closet, do not utter vain repetitions of words as the heathens do, for they have their rewards and their fine clothes on the corners, looking to be seen and noticed of others. When you enter into thy closet, be in stillness and silence, and do not speak these vain repetitions, for God already knows what it is that you need. There's a lot of dogs barking out there. So when you pray, this is Jesus Christ, and so many of the literal Christians, Jesus Christ is everything to them. And this is the literal word of Jesus in the book of Matthew in chapter 6, verses 6 through 13. And that's what he's saying. You do not utter a word. You do not utter a thought. You just sit there in silence because your Father already knows what it is that you have need of. Simply wait in silence for the gift to be given and to be received. So what prayer is meditation, because that's what meditation is. Meditation is not a mantra. Meditation is not chanting anything. Meditation isn't just sitting there trying to be still and silent. Meditation is about balance. Meditation is about the balancing of two worlds. And to be able to achieve this, we have to leave the 5 physical senses of our physical reality for the 2 physical senses of our metaphysical reality. Here in the 6th is the 6th chakra, which is the 3rd eye chakra, and this is intuition. And here on the crown of the 7th chakra is telepathy. Intuition and telepathy. There's no words. There's no words, and there's no such thing as time. It's an instantaneous transfer of wisdom from the creator to you. And it doesn't just happen to Colleen and I because we're just really hunky-dory people. It's available to all of you, everybody. Just read the Bible for yourself and stop listening to these demons of the Catholic Church. And remember,
we have a lot of unprogramming to do.
Yes.
And they've hit religion so hard with the lies and the deception. And the really great thing that we have to say right now, Ingrid, is that there are 50 miles underneath the Vatican in books and all sorts of antiquated, beautiful writings from the Gnostics and the Essenes, and so much information is going to be coming out, and we will be able to utilize all of this information, and we will be able to completely reprogram our minds with truth that's been hidden from us. And we'll be able to regenerate our mind and our body, we'll then be able to see the 76 books, I believe it's 76 books that were taken out of or not put into the Bible. And those books will be filled with information, and it's going to be so exciting.
And there's so many of them are about the mother. And again, the mother has just been extracted out of this reality. And one of the books that we have access to that was smuggled out of the Vatican Library is one of these books that was supposed to be in the Bible, and it talks completely. This is all the words and the teachings of Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ goes on and on in the exact same breath of how incredibly much he loves his Father. It's the exact same level of deference to authority to the mother. On earth, she is God. She is God's representative on earth. And on earth, in this material plane, it is of the mother. And we must be of the mother. You should hear and read just how beautiful his words are with regard to the mother and our devotion to the mother, and then how that balances our love and our devotion for the Father. So the material plane and the metaphysical plane, it's so beautiful. And
like the double sine wave, the mother and the father joined together.
It is, which is the torus field creating the bull, and that's what the Bible is. Bible two, bi is two, and bull is bull. The two torus. Able, yes.
Bible.
Bible, be able of the New Testament of the right hemisphere of the brain, not Cain of the Old Testament in the left hemisphere of the brain. It's what it's all about. It's what it's all about. And so Ingrid, yes, the whole Bible is an allegory. You need to read it for yourself. One of the things after everything settles down is that I'm going to be doing a series that pays massive tribute to the incredible Bill Donahue.
Yes, thank you, Bill.
You know, there's nothing we like more. There's nothing we like to watch more than one of Bill Donahue's episodes. It's the most fascinating, brilliant, fun, enriching, important. Just if we have our choice to watch something, it would be one of these episodes of the great Bill Donahue, or something from Santos. Just letting Santos Bonacci just unveil his genius, and you just sit there and you just go, wow, 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 wow. So.
Which is a word we're going to be using lots in the future,
right,
because of all the disclosure and all of the unveiling. Wow, wow, wow. All of the technology, all of the beauty, and everything that's going to be brought forward. And soon we will be able to see the beauty and humanity in mankind being displayed before us, instead of just the darkness that's been portrayed for so long and glorified, the darkness. So you turn on Netflix and every movie is about death and killing and cops, and it's just horrible. No, I'm not saying cops are horrible, but the movies are murder and all sorts of things. So it's just we're going to be seeing a complete inverse of what we have been living. So I'm just so excited to share all of that with all of you. It's just such an honor to be journeying with all of you. Thank you for this, because we felt like we were alone, and now we have a beautiful family to share all of this gnosis with. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. This is our 17th cat, which is Kundalini, and boy, does she like to rise. And and our 18th cat, I wish we could see little Heaven. Heaven, when we lost QQ, when we lost little Q, which was that rescue dog, and he just took to Colleen like you can't imagine. And so we called him Q. Colleen made an incredible bandana for him, Q17. Just such a loving, beautiful, beautiful dog. But he was riddled with lesions and tumors inside of him and stuff. And Colleen did her best, obviously, as she always does. And he just had an incredible life with us. But he passed, and just days before QQ's passing, Little Heaven, just and all by herself, no mom, no brothers and sisters, just right out of the cornfield, right, the corn patch next to us, Little Heaven walks right in and becomes number 18, which is R, Q and R, 17 and 18. This Kundalini is 17, Heaven is 18. And 17 and 18 make 35, and 35, the 35th president
JFK
is JFK. And the numerology for Robert F. Kennedy, RFK, the numerology for RFK is 35. So it was amazing, just amazing. And so Colleen and we're both really torn up. Especially Call about losing little QQ, but
there is no death, and I just keep remembering that he's with me all the time.
Yeah.
So I do miss him physically.
Yeah, and that's just us being selfish. Just it is, but we love them so much, and we miss them so much in the physical because we spend all of our time with them. So,
but it's been amazing, Davina. Thank you so much for hosting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we're coming to the end of our show. Charlie, would you like to take more questions? Any ending messages? Where can people find you? How can they support you? I have a question from somebody who says that they tried to send you money and they couldn't. So give us an update on what's happening on that, please. And
again, we just, we appreciate the help because with all these animals, the costs are enormous, but we don't do this for money. Everything is free with us and it'll always be free with us. And when money is no longer necessary, you'll hear about it. Because everything should be from the creation of the father and the mother.
And one day it will be.
And one day it will be. In the meantime, if you can help us, that's great. But like I said earlier, don't stress. It just needs to be an amount that you don't miss, and that we do not want to be the cause of any stress for you whatsoever. We want to be helping to heal you, not create distress within you. So we were taken down off of Patreon. We had 2 Patreon accounts, Charlie Freak and the Shire Animal Rescue Sanctuary.
And they took down the Shire Animal Sanctuary.
Yeah, well, they took that one down first, and they took me down as well. Now, the shell of my account still exists there, but
just until
they
November
say
1st.
that's right, and then
gone.
They say we're not processing anything, and then
But they wiped mine out completely. I didn't even know it was gone.
Yeah. So we switched over to a platform that just used sort of goodly words, and it's called Buy Me a Coffee. So you can find us at Buy Me a Coffee, all one word, / Charlie Freak, spelled correctly, CharlieFreak 777. We'll have this in the show notes for you, and you can visit our other videos in the show notes to see it as well.
So we've just combined his and the Animal Sanctuary
Because Buy Me a
together.
Coffee will only give us one account. They won't allow us, like Patreon did, to have 2 accounts. So they
With
will only have
PayPal.
1 account. And it doesn't matter because all the money goes to the animals anyway. So it doesn't matter. So that's where we're at. That's where we're done. But again, remember, you can help us in so many ways. And honestly, the single best thing that
Doing
you
the
can
work.
do
Doing
is
the
doing the
work.
work, is helping yourself. That will help us the most by you taking the time to forgive yourself and to begin to love yourself. And if you love yourself, you're going to re-examine the food you eat. Remember, come on, has to be so obvious at this point that everything that they've taught us is a lie. And we're the first ones to say this a couple of years ago, and we're not joking around. We mean this. Everything that organized society has taught us is a lie. The truth is in the pages of the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita or the Quran or the Buddhist
Or
Sutras.
Buddhist temples. God will give you the
Of
gnosis.
course
Can you clean
That's
yourself up, both mentally and physically?
Yeah.
He will give you the gnosis.
Yeah.
It will be down like that.
That's why 11 is the master number. That's why 11 is the master number. Because Solomon's, these are the two temples. And then here is the 9, because that's the seat of your soul. And you are your connection to God, which is God consciousness. So the 9 is within you. And that's the significance again of 9/11. The takedown of 9/11 on 9/11 is the removal of God from our, and our job in life is the number 13. Nobody talks about the number 13. Nobody wants to wear the number 13. There's no 13 row. Come on. They hate us and they want to kill us, but
Take back the number 13.
suddenly they care about us with the number 13, and it's bad luck and stay away. 13 is Jesus Christ, because Jesus never went anywhere without him, right? Everywhere that Jesus went. So the Son guy, which is,
Everywhere that Jesus went, Mary was sure to go.
yeah. Well, everywhere that Mary went, Jesus was sure to go, which is Jesus. So the Mary. So, but again, the sun in the sky is always followed by the 12 constellations. The sun inside of you, which is dark right now, which is our third ventricle of the brain, is known as the light of the world. It's surrounded by the 12 cranial nerves. Everywhere you go, whether it's the pages of the Bible or in your head or in the night sky, it's always that one great guy, Jesus, surrounded by his 12 pals. And 12 plus 1 equals 13. The number 13 is your journey in life, because the number 13 is called Christ consciousness. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. You must become Jesus Christ within you, because that's exactly that's that podcast that I did that's had, I think, about 100,000 views. The Takedown of Organized Religion. If you haven't watched it yet, watch it. The Takedown of Organized Religion from A to Z. It is the truth in plain sight. It's not me. Everything are these 26 incredible passages from Jesus Christ in the New Testament, and all I do is I lay out the exact words of Jesus Christ from A to Z. And what does he say? That the kingdom of God is within you, and you must go in and be silent and connect to the Father in stillness and silence. And that is the raising of the chrism oil within you and creating oil in your lamp. This is the genie in the bottle. This is the bottle, and genie is genius. And you only get genius when you have wisdom. And you only get wisdom by casting thy net to the right. And this is
all connected, and we're going to share it all with you. It's just going to be repetition, but it'll be in a different form every time, hopefully, that we speak. But
that's your job.
It's the one story. It's the
one story, and that's to create everywhere. The 13th cranial nerve. The for Jim Carrey in that one movie, and he had 13 on his head, and it was on his head, but nobody knows what it is. 13 is Christ consciousness. That's what you have to do. That's why when you do it, you're the fountain of you. Around the corner from the fountain. We got that song by Michael Franks. Wow. Pineal gland, pituitary gland, incredible stuff. So, the journey of life is the number 13.
Charlie, I read somewhere that the number 13 is the number of the divine feminine. Is that the same thing as what you're talking about?
Yeah, yes and no. The number of the divine feminine is 22. 22 or 222 is the number of the divine feminine. And, by the way, that's why from September 11, 2001 to March 11th, 2020 is exactly 222 months, because on September 11th was the takedown of the Father, God, within us, 9/11. And then the COVID, the outbreak on 3/11, March 11, 2020 was the outbreak of the nonsense of the pandemic the global pandemic. And that's why, because it's exactly 222, and that was the takedown of the mother. Take down the father, take down the mother, and guess what we are? We're the orphan children. We're orphaned.
So it is all about the children.
And what do the Clintons do to orphan children? Here, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty, come here. We've got some food for you. We've got some candy. Come, we've got a nice island for you. Mr. Epstein is so nice. You know, or you can go to Mr. Biden's island, that water island. Come, kitty, come, kitty. And that's what they do. This is what this is all about, is to take the father and the mother away from us. What are the three master numbers? 11, 22, and 33. We, the child, are 33. The mother is 22, and we are 11. And remember, where does the God is the 11? And where does the sacred feminine come into the 13? This is this one story. This is the unity consciousness sex. That's why the correct sex is so important, because Jesus, the child, we children are electrical. We're all electrical. We need to ground ourselves with the mother, earth, okay? So that balances us, because we're electrical. She is magnetic. We're positive. She's negative. It balances, it grounds. That's what ground is. It neutralizes the potency of electricity into balance. We are a downward causation. Magnetism rises. The
So we
mother,
must rise.
Mary, is
To get
magnetism.
to heaven on earth, we
That's
must
right.
rise.
We must rise. So Jesus cannot get to heaven upon earth without the mother. That's why Jesus has to first rescue the princess who's down in the dungeons being ruled over by a dragon. He must slay the dragon,
The
and
ego.
then, which is your ego. You must do the work. You must do the work to slay the ego within you. Then she will rise, and she raises you to the uppermost turret of the castle. And folks, the castle is the third ventricle of your brain. And guess what? There is an uppermost turret in the castle. And do you know what that last chamber of the third ventricle of your brain is called? It's called the chamber of the bridegroom. Seriously, you can look this up in medical encyclopedias. The third ventricle, the final chamber where the fornix rolls back, the rock blocking the cave rolls back, and the final chamber in the third, the bridegroom. That's where the father and the mother are married once again, and we have a family. But you need a witness, to somebody there to witness the marriage, and that's the best man.
So it's the B ride to the G room.
B, yeah, B, because the letter B is the number 2, which is the sacred mother, the feminine. So the B ride of the mother, B ride to the G room. G room right here is G
Isn't
for
that
God.
cool how that just synchronistically works out?
Yep, incredible,
The
right?
messages are built into the words.
And who's the best man? Who's the best man that has to be there to witness the marriage between the mother and the father? Jesus Christ. There's no better man than Jesus Christ. And that's the child. Father, mother, child. And when we become whole again as the Holy Trinity, when we become the Holy Trinity, there's nothing that can stop us. There's nothing. There's no sword, there's no gun, there's nothing that can ever stop you if you're connected to the mother and the father with the family again. It's everything.
And that's all we have to say about that.
Thank you so much, Charlie and Colleen. And just a couple of pointers, like a couple of things that came up. One is many people are asking us about when are the 10 days of darkness. And as you've mentioned before, you know, it's that you don't know for sure, but you suspect it's after the elections.
Yeah, again, in one sense, it makes sense on 11/4, which is the first day of the rains for Noah's Ark. 40 days, it rained for 40 days, 40 nights. But they need to televise what's happening with Antifa and the rioting and then the takedown of the rioters. So I can't see that. Guy Fawkes Day, remember the 5th of November, makes a lot of sense. But then again, they might not have everything taken down by then. So ultimately, we don't know. I think 11/11 is Remembrance Day, is a day of peace, because it's 11/11, which is, you know, the two temples of the body and the mind. And that seems like another really, really, really good day for the 10 days of darkness. And remember, folks, let me say this, and we're going to really, really end this for today, because I was up all night doing that podcast with Al Pisoni. So I'll end with this. Remember, with the 10 days of darkness, when it all goes dark, it's designed as an earth-wide movement, and every single one of these demonic governments that's still in place, like Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand and Andrews in Australia and Justin Trudeau in Canada, all these demons will be gone for good. And then it's just going to be these temporary governments designed to allow the flow of freedom to occur until such time that real elections for the first time can take place and people can decide their
And the Schumann
future.
resonance, the vibration and frequency of the earth at this point in time is raising. And because all the suffering and the horrific things that were happening to the children in the tunnels all over the world have been blown up by much of the military Q team, there is such a change in the, not to mention the planetary alignments and all of God's energy coming through, but there's an amazing change in the whole spectrum. So that will probably help aid all of us when those things happen, and we're going to need to be there for our brothers and sisters who maybe don't understand or understand what's happening. Yeah, it'll be an amazing time to bring us all together. It is about unity.
Thank you so much, Colleen and Charlie. And just one thing, as I'm reading the comments, there's a lot of people saying, thanks to you, we've been turning vegetarian and even frugivores. So Colleen and Charlie, your work is being spread wide and far, and we want to thank you for that. That's actually really beautiful to read. And
Friends, not food. Friends.
Yeah.
Animals are friends, not food.
Animals are friends. And another thing that I just want to ask, clarify is your PayPal still working?
Yeah, apparently, and a good thing, because it's the only, that's what Buy Me a Coffee processes through. They process through PayPal. So if we didn't have that, there would be no way here in Mexico for us to get any funds. So
Okay, great.
so if you're listening, Mr. President,
Don't let PayPal go.
that's right.
Unless it's a terrible organization, but
That's
we'll,
right.
we'll use another one. We're okay with that.
Yeah.
Well, can you just remind us about your PayPal again, where we go one, we go all, and real Donald Trump, we are your supporters and we are here. And, we know that it's going to be okay. It's, I understand how it is. And I happen to be in Canada because I'm a full-time single mother. Otherwise I would be in Mexico. But, and my last thing is that Lokesh is not here today. So I'm just filling in for Lokesh. And my name is Davina Kaur, and I want to say thank you to everybody who's here. I mean, I'm just getting so many comments here. So Charlie and Colleen, we're going to have to pick this up another time. And please come on the Sexy Brilliant Show, Charlie, Colleen. And, spread your light. We're going far, right? Like, there's a lot of healing to be done. And any last messages before we sign up for the day? Colleen, Charlie.
Be strong, trust in the plan. And, when we say trust in the plan, we're talking about the big guy. Just trust in God. God is real. The care for us is so, wow. Just stop thinking and just trust. It's the truth.
And try not to listen to all the disinformation right now. It can be very, very frightening. And when we're in our left brain, we're very susceptible. So just try to turn off even the alternative media for the next little while. Just do your chores, love your family. If you're American, go vote for Trump. Just do what you need to do to stay as clean and clear as you can for the next week, because that's what's going to help everybody right now, is just sending that beautiful intention, the beautiful love energy that changes the whole frequency of the earth. And so that's our advice for now, is just try to stay as calm and in a beautiful, loving state as you can.
And enjoy election night. You know,
Regardless.
we haven't firmed anything up yet with either Davina or Lokesh, but that's something that we'd love to do. We'd really love to share election night with you. We could start maybe around 7 o'clock our time, 8 o'clock our time. And then
So
we
if
could
Davina,
just,
you're into that, maybe we could do a watch party or something.
yeah, we could do just a live thing and just celebrate. I want everyone, because this is about us and the work that we've been doing too. It's about Donald Trump and all the work that he's been doing, and Melania Trump and Michael Jackson behind the scenes with all the
Carolyn
children.
Kennedy,
And of course, it's about
Lady Diana.
the Kennedy family and JFK and Carolyn and so it's just a night to celebrate. And I'm talking 50-0. Yep. And Donald Trump scored all 50 goals. That's a heck of a feat.
So that would be fun.
Thank you. And so everybody who's here, if you want us to do a live show on the 3rd of November, going into the 4th of November, please let us know. Tag Charlie on Facebook, leave us a comment, just kind of messages so we know where you guys are. It's a collective meditation, which is also Charlie helping us. And we're going through this, and none of us should feel isolated and alone, because we know it's very difficult. And we want to say thank you. I want to say thank you so much to Charlie and Colleen for your time, for all the work that you do. And I know there are so many people who are here from Switzerland, from Australia, from Holland. We've got lots of Quebecers. We've got lots of Indians in Quebec. And I'm surprised. And of course, we've got people from the UK. And everybody's like, our vibration is going up. I'm feeling it. I'm so glad I'm here, because we're going to get through this. So thank you so much. And guys, make sure that you're sharing this video, you're liking this video, share the positivity. If you haven't subscribed to Charlie's YouTube channel, please do so. Please follow him on Facebook. Those of you who can donate a little bit of money, it's check out Charlie Freak on PayPal as well. There's the show notes, have all the information. Thank you so much, guys, and namaste to everybody. Yes, and don't forget to pray. And lots of comments still coming in. Everybody wants to do the live election night, so I'm in.
Awesome.
I'm going to be there, and we're going to coordinate. Namaste. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
Davina.
It's just going to be brilliant.
Oh, and the dogs and cats are hungry. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Colleen.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Davina.
Okay.